Today's video is about making an instant plum cake. So if you haven't had the time to prepare for the plum cake, don't worry. Just follow this instant plum cake recipe to the T and you will have a delicious and decadent plum cake ready within 5 to 6 hours. I will be explaining the recipe in 4 easy to follow steps. So let's get started with the list of ingredients. You will need 300 grams of butter, 4 eggs, 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1.5 cup of dark brown sugar, 1 teaspoon nutmeg powder, 1 teaspoon cinnamon powder, 1 teaspoon allspice powder which is garam masala, and 1 teaspoon baking powder, 3 teaspoons of molasses which can be easily sourced online, 3 tablespoons of dark rum. I have some Old Monk left, so I am using that, 1 lemon for the zest, and lastly a mix of dry fruits which are about 1000 grams in quantity. Please read the caption for the specifications of the dry fruits. Firstly, chop all the dry fruits in small pieces. A chopper will make things easy for you, but if you don't have a chopper, use a knife. The quantity of the dry fruits is more, so this is a tedious job and takes some time. Because it's a weekend, if you have other family members present in the house, you can ask them to help you in this job so that they feel they have contributed to the cake as well. You can use dry fruits of your choice, like you can replace the almonds with cashews, but raisins are a must. The variety and the quantity of raisins used in a plum cake distinguishes it from the other cakes and also gives it its original flavor. So the dry fruits are chopped and almost ready now. I have some candied peel lying in the house and I'm going to use that in the cake. If you're buying a new packet, I would suggest to buy a mixed variety which will have cherries and citrus fruits so that they add different flavors to your cake. Now let's zest the lemon. We need 1 lemon zest for this cake. My voice might be sounding sore and funny, excuse me for that, because I was suffering from a cold and cough bout recently. At the start of the video, I had mentioned that I will be explaining the process in 4 simple steps. We start with the first step now, which is sieving all the dry ingredients together. In a big mixing bowl, sieve the flour, baking powder, nutmeg powder, cinnamon powder, and the garam masala or allspice powder together. In the second step, we mix all these dry ingredients that we just sieved and keep aside 3/4 of this mixture, and in the remaining 1/4 part we are going to add all the quantity of dry fruit that we have chopped. When you're done with mixing the dry fruits, keep them aside, and now we move towards our third step, which is mixing the wet ingredients. We start with softening the butter in a mixing bowl using a hand mixer. This is about 300 grams of butter, like I've mentioned in the ingredients before. I'm going to break it into small pieces before I use the hand mixer. Our butter is soft now, and we start adding the brown sugar to it. Add the sugar in parts. I'm using caster sugar here, but you can use powdered sugar instead because it will make the sugar dissolve faster. After the butter and sugar mix well, it's time to add the eggs. Add one at a time, mix, and then add the second one. Adding the eggs will make the mixture soft, and you will see the cake-like batter starts forming. Just give this a good mix using a spatula. It's time to add the rum and molasses. Add 3 tablespoons of rum and 3 teaspoons of molasses. Give this a good mix. Now it's time for our fourth and last step before we bake the cake, which is mixing the wet and the dry ingredients. So first of all, add the flour mixture that we had kept aside to this wet batter. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention earlier, this is 50 grams of crushed almond powder, which we need additionally. Now add this and the lemon zest that we had made. Lastly, all the dry fruits will go in. At this point, if you feel, you can shift to a bigger bowl because the quantity will be a lot. Make sure that the batter is well blended. If you want, you can add a bit of rum or molasses in case the batter looks too dry and is not moving very easily. Plum cake batter is not going to be as flowy as the normal cake batter because of the amount of dry fruit in it. So that's it. Our cake batter is ready to go inside the oven. Wasn't it really easy to put together? I'm using a springform tin for baking. You can use a normal cake tin that can be used in a convection oven. Grease the baking tray or tin with butter. You don't have to flour it because we are going to use baking paper. Here are two sheets of baking paper. I'm going to line one vertically and one horizontally. This is a heavy cake, so butter paper makes it easier to lift the cake from the tin after it's baked. Also, we are going to slow bake the cake, so it's going to bake for at least 2.5 to 3 hours. So we don't want to take any chances of the cake sticking to the tin. Preheat your oven on convection mode at 150 degrees Celsius. Set the cake for baking for 1.5. After 1.5 hours, remove the cake, cover it with an aluminium foil and bake for another 30 to 40 minutes. So after the cake bakes for 2.5 hours, just check with a knife in the center whether the knife comes out clean and the cake is well baked. If required, keep for half an hour more. I've scraped the very top part of my cake because I had run out of aluminium foil and my cake got a little brown on the top. I just leveled it up so that it's convenient for me to do the icing. If you wish, you can have the plum cake as is, that is plain, but I thought why not dress it up a bit because it's Christmas. So I'm going to do a simple all sugar icing which is very quick and easy to make. But what I want here is a thick consistency so that the icing looks like a pretty skirting on the cake. So for the icing, I have taken 2 cups of powdered sugar, 1 tablespoon of oil, you can use any cooking oil, and 2 tablespoons of piping hot water. Simply mix all these ingredients and your icing is ready. You can adjust the amount of water required till you achieve the right consistency. This is the perfect icing consistency. It should be opaque, not transparent, and it should not be dripping down too fast. Fill the icing batter in a piping bag and start icing the cake from the outer corners. We don't have to cover the entire length of the cake on the side, but just make sure that the icing drips down beautifully. After applying the first round of icing, just tap the turntable. If you're not using a turntable, use a plastic dish because you will have to tap so that the icing starts falling down on the sides. Apply another layer on the first one. The icing will slowly drip down more, so I would suggest don't apply a third layer. Just give it some time. Now cover the center part. Ideally, I wanted to garnish the cake with cherries, but because cherries were not available, I'm using strawberries and they look equally pretty and bright. lastly, dust some powdered sugar on the strawberries, and we are done. Hope you've enjoyed watching this recipe as much as I've enjoyed making it for you, and I really hope you make this cake at home and give me your feedback on how you like it. Wish you and your family a merry and bright Christmas from Team Cook with Pooja, and until we meet next, happy baking!